And welcome once again to United in Liberty Radio. Dustin Harris hanging out with Joe Olivas with you tonight as we discuss principles. We discuss things that really matter. We get into the news articles and the things going on across the nation, across the world, and we talk about them in the terms of truth and the light of principle. Joe, welcome. How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Better than fine, worse than perfect. The night's not over yet, though.
Well, you know what? There's a lot going on. I'll tell you, I had kind of a rough morning. I gave you a call, experiencing some things.
Man, I totally forgot about that
at the
already.
office. You know what? But the rest of the day was great, very productive. I was really excited about the productivity. Just a little insight.
That's good because you were really bummed out.
I wasn't bummed as much as I was really upset and bothered by the fact that individuals close to me in a office environment just violating principle and just being really unproductive and it reminded me a lot of what's going on in Congress in Washington. You have a lot of individuals who are very liberal with other people's money, and they I guess money does grow on trees because trees, paper, money, but it's fine to go ahead.
Wow, I've never made that connection.
Yeah, money grows on trees, and it's okay because it's always somebody else's tree, and that's kind of what was going on there at the office. And
so you're telling me that are you trying to tell me that principles apply at work as well as in government?
They apply everywhere. That's the amazing thing. And so like we talk about here, principles govern, and want to make sure that I've got agency, and I can choose and decide how to look at the situation that I'm in and choose to be productive, or I can choose to whine and complain, and like some of our friendly Democrats on over on the Hill and complaining about certain things that are going on, and or I can be productive about it and do something about the situation. And the rest of the day was really productive, really excited, and looking forward to get back here and spend time with you and be on the air.
Good. Well, it's not just Democrats that are complaining and living outside the realms of principle. Of course, you've heard the news this week, and Christine O'Donnell took the election here. Was it Tuesday? I guess. The primary election, which is really weird to me that they're having primaries in September. I guess it's because I live in a western state, and typically they do those quite early. But nonetheless, Christine O'Donnell, a Tea Party favorite, one individual who proclaims to stand up for principle. Of course, she doesn't have much of a track record. I guess there's a little bit of controversy in her past, not regarding government, but some of the things that she's been involved in, which... Okay, I guess we can look at those things, but there's a lot of hearsay regarding that. But really, what I want to focus on here for a few minutes, Joe, is the points that were brought out after the election. You will notice that O'Donnell was not supported by the Republican Party. They went to their man, Mr. Mike Castle. Mr. Mike Castle, here's a Republican. He's got an R behind his name. He voted for cap and tax. He voted for the Disclose Act. He was not endorsed by the NRA. Now, that, of course, doesn't always necessarily mean much, but you've got a situation where, this guy is truly what you would refer to as a RINO or a Republican in name only. He certainly is not living up to the platitudes or he's certainly not living up to the principles espoused by or expressed rather by the Republican platform. And as a consequence, the Republican Party decided that they were going to support somebody else.
Well, the funny thing, though, the way you worded those things, it almost sounded like the complete opposite of Rove on Hanity when he was talking about O'Donnell. I don't know much about O'Donnell. What I do know is... I've never met the woman, obviously. I don't live in Delaware, and that just goes to show you how individuals in different communities across the country can get together on their own with people within their communities, decide that they're going to do something, and rather than just complain or just hold up a protest sign, but they're going to go ahead and do something about what they don't like. And as a result, she ended up getting elected. And it says,
has she ever been elected anything else in the past?
You know what? I don't think she has. I really don't. I don't know anything about her. There's not very much information about there. In fact, her website, the only thing that I see on her website, and maybe this isn't actually her website, but the website using to raise funds for her, is that the number just keeps climbing. It just keeps growing. And the reason why it's growing is because people are still contributing to and she's only been elected for 2 days. I mean, I think, she's already past 1.2 million is what she's raised in the last 2 days. That's the people across the country that are really upset about what's going on and want to make sure that she has enough financial resources for this election in November. Now, the thing that we were talking before we went on the air, and this goes to show you how some of the individuals that are crying in Congress right now, they're crying about the fact that their candidate didn't win. Well, she was on the Republican ticket, and so because she was on the Republican ticket and she beat Castle out of his nomination, she's going to be the one on the ballot. And so are we seriously going to go ahead and take the position that all the Republicans are going to intentionally vote for the Democrat because they're mad that she wasn't their choice?
Right. Yeah, that's going to happen.
It's just ridiculous. And so really I think what happened here, and Rove tried to spin it, and say that it wasn't about her winning, it was about Crist's voting record. I mean, not Crist. It was about Castle's voting record. Well, the problem there, Carl, is that you're just not looking at the fact that if he had a poor voting record, why were you supporting him in the first place?
Right. And, this goes back. There's a couple things here. First of all, okay, who is Castle? Castle is a liberal. I'm sorry, he may have an R behind his name. Cap and tax?
He's a liberal.
Are you kidding me? Cap and tax? Yeah, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that piece of legislation is the biggest assault. I mean, honestly, Joe, I would put that above, believe it or not, the health care bill as far as the liberties and the freedoms that thing would destroy if it were passed. That's how serious that cap and tax is. And his guy votes for it? Are you kidding?
Yeah, and then and even in that interview with Rove and Hanity, Rove did talk about some of the things that Castle did and some of the things that he counted as poor decisions. Well, okay, you've got your candidate, the one that you're supporting, you're acknowledging that they've made some bad decisions and made some bad votes.
Right. At what point do you stand up and say, you know what, principles govern and we're no longer supporting this individual? The fact is, Joe, Karl Rove, I'm sorry. I mean, I like a lot of what he says. I like what he's done in the past for the most part, but he's a party man. He's a big tent Republican insider that all he cares about is that the R's win. And it does not matter what the R's stand for. It matters to him who has the best chance of winning. And so in Karl Rove's mind, Mike Castle had a better chance of winning against the Democrat in the actual election than did O'Donnell. So when O'Donnell when O'Donnell won and Castle lost, Karl Rove, in his mind, has already thrown in the towel.
Well, okay, I have to agree with him in that you take the Democrat, and who's I don't even know. You take the Democrat, whoever that's going to be or whoever that is, Castle and O'Donnell. Yeah, Castle has the better chance of beating the Democrat in a three-way race. But it's not a three-way race. It's a two-way race. And O'Donnell had a better record or a better opportunity, a better chance of winning, and therefore she won against Castle. And so now, yeah, again, is Carl really going to go ahead and cast his if he was in Delaware, is he really going to cast a vote for the Democrat?
Well, he's not. He's trying, and he's not even in Delaware.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but if he was living in,
right,
he's not going to vote for the
No
Democrat.
way.
So to say that she's not going to win in November or that he was the best candidate, no, he wasn't the best candidate. If he was the best candidate, he would have won. And at what point in time do you stand up for principle and say, you know what, your voting record over this past however long he wants to look back has